Hello, everyone. Welcome. Tonight's going to be fun. We are going to be talking about a topic that we haven't done before. So that, of course, is always exciting for me to be able to talk about something new. So we'll talk about the ancient power of hydrogen bathing. And of course, bathing before they knew it was hydrogen bathing. We will definitely touch base on that. So just excited to have you all here. Grateful for everyone being here. We'll get started here in just about a minute or so. Let more people come so they don't miss anything. And we have a special person with us tonight, Trace, who I have mentioned many times when we've done at the end of our webinars, that how amazing Trace Waterland is on our team. He's the manager of our tech and support and what have you. So kind of fun. It would be appropriate since we're talking about the bath unit tonight. He is the one that would be able to answer your questions appropriately. So we welcome him. We welcome him. So all right. So we'll get started here in just a minute or so. If anyone, we always do this, but yeah, thank you, Alicia. Where are you guys joining us from? We'd love to hear where a few of you are from, especially if it's far away places like international destinations. We'd love to hear where you're coming from. Many times we have people from international joining us, so we're excited. Oh, Connecticut is very international. Ireland. Okay, Peter, welcome. Welcome. Funny story, when my grandfather, actually my great-grandfather, came to this country from Italy, he came and lived in Berlin, Connecticut, and my father graduated from Berlin High School in Connecticut. So there you go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started here just so that we are staying on time. We're going to have a question and answer as always. So here's how the format's going to go. We have roughly an hour of presentation, and then we will go to a live question and answer. So anyone that wants to have questions answered, put them in the Q&A area, and Trace will answer them as we go through the webinar if there are things that he can answer. And so then by the time we get to the live question and answer, it will be me going through answering the things that he leaves for me to answer because they're, specific things that I should answer or what have you. So that's how it's going to go. I will turn my camera off while I'm doing, so that will give more room for the presentation on your screen. And you don't want to look at me anyway. So we'll look at the beautiful PowerPoint presentation that Natalie makes. All right, so we will get started. I'm going to turn my camera off, and that will, again, allow you to see more. And so we'll get started. So the ancient power of hydrogen bathing. Obviously, for centuries, people have been bathing in natural springs and natural places where you have the ability to harness the power of the earth and be able to heal and improve health. So I'll turn my camera back on for a second. We have an FDA disclaimer. Obviously, this is not designed to be curative conversation or to, diagnose, treat, or cure a disease that you have. It's just education for you to understand what hydrogen can do. So I'm your host, Dr. Paul, and I am a husband of 31 years, father of 22 years, doctor of naturopathy, speaker, co-author, passionate about preventing disease. So Any of you who know me or have listened to me know that this is what I'm all about, is preventing disease models, making sure that people can accomplish their divine potential. So here are the 4 things that we're going to talk about tonight. Number 1, the problem, age and inflammation, how that occurs and what's going on. We're going to talk about healing springs and the history of that. We're going to get into the science of healing springs. We're going to talk about what the benefits are of healing springs and why millions of people go to them every year all over the world. Number 3 will be hydrogen and how remarkable the hydrogen molecule is. And then number 4, we're going to bring it all together and talk to you about hydrogen bathing to bring together the heat of a healing spring and the remarkable hydrogen into being able to have in your home healing hydrogen baths. So that's going to be our format tonight. So let's get started. Age and inflammation. So we know that we as a society should be aging far more gracefully than we are now. And I would tell you that we're not aging gracefully. We are aging far more rapid than we should be. We have people in their 20s. When I started this industry of hydrogen water, and I started 15 years ago, our main market was 45 to 65-year-olds. Why? Because that's where people started feeling their age or feeling aches and pains and other issues. But guess what? Now it's 35 to 65, 85, whatever. There is no high-end age, but people are getting older, younger. They are feeling aging earlier. And so we want to help people age gracefully. So as we've always talked about, oxidative stress and chronic inflammation is the leading cause of disease, and it affects over 90% of the population. This is why over 90% of the population have issues, whether it's joint issues, whether it's digestive, whether it's skin issues we're going to talk a lot about tonight, whether it's memory, whether it's brain function, whether it's being able to exert your body in exercise. Whatever the issue is, it's oxidative stress and inflammation that's causing us not to be able to function the way we want to or the way we expect to be able to. And so tonight is going to be a little bit different because we're going to talk about how oxidative stress and inflammation can be helped with bathing. Normally we talk about drinking water with hydrogen gas. And of course, you all know how powerful that is. But tonight we're going to talk about if you're bathing in water that has hydrogen, how that's going to benefit you. So make sure you stay tuned for that. So let's talk about oxidative stress and skin struggles, more than just wrinkles. Acne, over 50 million Americans affected by acne. Now that's 1/6, just to give you an understanding. 1 out of every 6 people on this, or on our country, in our country, United States of America, 1 out of every 6 people have issues with acne. 40 to 55% of adults suffer from persistent or mild adult acne. Now let's go to eczema. Now eczema is far more serious than acne, of course, unless you're talking about cystic acne, but just normal common skin condition, acne, 50 million people, or 40 to 50% of the population. Here we see eczema, 7.3 of US adults are currently living. So that's about 2 million. Just, take 7 times 300 million, right? And so you have a couple million people. 10.8% of US children are currently living with eczema. Psoriasis, which is a combination of hydration and hydrogen water intake, can help that, but 2 to 3% of the global population struggle with psoriasis. So not just the United States, we're talking the world. And 30% of psoriasis patients develop psoriatic arthritis. So not a good thing. Let's get rid of this before it progresses, right? 86% of adolescents under 24 years of age feel that their skin issues impair their confidence with their friends or peers. That's a high number. That's almost 90% of adolescents under the age of 24 feel that their skin issues reduce their confidence with their friends or whoever. Now, this next one, I'm going to kind of phrase it a little bit different so you understand it. But 73% of women who used anti-aging specific skincare didn't feel it had any effect. So 15% of those individuals, 15% of 73% of women who use anti-aging specific skincare don't feel it has any effect on their skin. Now, we're going to talk tonight about how we have something that will affect your skin and be very highly anti-aging for your skin. Now, inflammaging. This is a cute little term of aging from inflammation. So this is how a little inflammation can go a long way, but we call it inflammaging because it's causing you to age faster based on inflammation, okay? Because obviously inflammation causes breakdown in tissue, including your skin. So that's a lot that we're going to talk about. Since we're talking about bathing in hot springs and all this, obviously the skin is affected, okay? So let's talk about symptoms of inflammation. Collagen and elastin breakdown, which gives you fine lines, wrinkles, and sagging. Reduced cell turnover, dullness, rough texture on your skin. Compromised skin barrier. When we're talking about a skin barrier, we're talking about the acid mantle of the skin. All of us should have an acid mantle on our skin to protect us from invasion, okay? If we don't have that skin barrier, then we'll have dryness, redness, and increased sensitivity in our skin because things are starting to get into our skin if we don't have the appropriate skin barrier. Increased oxidative stress. This is where we get our age spots, uneven tone. Some people get little white spots and things on their skin. That's all increased oxidative stress and other, could be other issues going on as well. Here, the next one is telomere shortening or cellular aging. So those of you that may not know what a telomere is, on the end of every DNA strand in your body is a telomere. And based on the length of that telomere, it can be an indicator of how well you're aging. In other words, if you have long telomeres, then you're aging well. And that means that your cells will duplicate and divide many times because they're really healthy. If you have shortened telomeres, then that means your cells cannot duplicate as many times before they have issues with duplication. And what is this going to cause? Overall skin thinning and delayed repair. Now, good news, I'll let the cat out of the bag now. Hydrogen lengthens telomeres. So it will support your body aging more gracefully, period. Just right there, your telomeres will be affected by hydrogen. Interestingly, just a little fun piece of information from Dr. Paul is in healthy cells, hydrogen lengthens your telomeres. In cancer cells, it shortens the telomeres. Isn't that perfect? Yes, because we don't want cancer cells duplicating wonderfully. We want them not to do that. We want what's called a haystack. So anyways, hopefully that makes sense to some of you. But that's what a telomere is. What's called microvascular damage gives us very tiny vascular issues in our skin We end up with loss of radiance of your skin. Have you ever seen people that have a kind of grayish looking skin, or it's lost its radiance? You don't see light coming from them. That's what that means. Dark circles and fragile skin. You've probably seen some people that they bruise really easy. They have fragile skin. They barely rub their arm against a wall or something, and you see bruising there. Not quite to a hemophiliac, but fragile skin, to where their skin tears easy. It kind of looks like crepe paper a little bit, if you've ever heard that terminology. So 35% of US adults displayed chronic inflammatory markers even without symptoms. So in other words, they didn't perceive that they had any issue. If you asked them if they had any issue, they would say no. But when they were tested, their blood and inflammatory markers were reviewed, they had chronic inflammatory markers that were showing that they had inflammation. So in other words, their body was fighting through it, and their body was doing the best job it can, but still damage is being done. That next stat, 50 to 70 million Americans experience chronic pain. Now, oh my gosh, again, that's crazy, right? The number of people out of 300 million people in our country, 50 to 70 million people experience chronic pain. This is not like I stubbed my toe or I have an issue today, it'll be gone by tomorrow. This is chronic pain. So they always have it with them. That's a problem. That's what we want to fix, right? That's why we're here. That's why we're learning. That's why we're getting educated, so we can educate others. So, healing hot springs. This lady looks like she's just living it up, right? She's the diva of the hot springs there. So, healing hot springs, fact or fiction? Well, it's fact, and we're going to get into that right now. So, 6,000 BCE, prehistoric and indigenous beliefs, archaeological evidence shows that humans soaking in thermal spring pools as far back as 6,000 BCE. Long before Roman usage, these indigenous communities worldwide, including Native American, Maori, people from Japan, Aboriginal Australians, they viewed hot springs as a sacred portal with spiritual and healing powers. So that's 6,000 BC. Let's move to 1000 BC, 5th century BC, ancient Greece and Rome. Thermal baths were central to the Greek health culture. Hippocrates, considered the father of Western medicine, recommended both hot and cold springs to treat illness. Romans institutionalized bathing with vast, thermal complexes. And a physician like Galen and Celsius prescribed mineral baths for joint, muscular, and skin ailments. So this is going back 1,000 years before Christ. So 1,000 years BC, this is 2025. You're talking about 3,025 years ago. Okay? So we've been doing this a while. We've had the idea as a society, as a world, as a people, that getting in hot water, bathing in hot water, spending time in hot water, other than just cleaning dirt off your body, but actually spending time medicinally, there was a benefit. So 6,000 BCE would be 8,025 years ago, and 3,025 years ago, ancient Greece and Rome definitely had it as a part of their medicine. So now we can go to 5th to 15th century medieval and Renaissance revival. After this, of course, after the fall of Rome, bathing culture declined due to religious pressure, though some monasteries preserved hydrotherapy as tradition. They preserved it. And the Renaissance and Enlightenment sparked renewed interest in thermal healing. Of course, then it was backed by studies and mineral compositions. When we get to the 18th and 19th century, getting closer to us, we have modern balneal therapy. Now, balneal therapy is just a nice word for if you get in hot water and you have healing effects. So that's really what balneal therapy means, is that healing effects from a hot bath, basically. So key figures from Austria and what have you, when you talk about Presenitz from Australia and Knupp from Germany, formalized systems of hydrotherapy, pairing water treatments with diet. So they took it a major step forward to combine water treatment with herbal therapies, diet, and exercise. So they were raising the bar. And of course, by the 19th century, spa towns became therapeutic and social clubs for elite medical tourism. So now 20th century, that's us. Here we are. And we definitely see hot baths, hot springs as medicine and wellness centers. And it has really spawned a lot of wellness and medicine tourism across the world. Following World War II, many grand bathhouses declined. Later, modern medical systems incorporated balneal therapy programs and increasingly linked thermal water exposure to rehabilitation and preventative care. So obviously, hot springs thrive as a wellness destination today. Now, I live in Utah. We as a company are headquartered in Utah as far as our offices go. And guess what? We have one of the best hot springs called Crystal Hot Springs, about an hour and a half north of where I live. And I have been there many times. And I say that because this next picture is cool. See how clearly you can't see in the picture, but it's snowing and she's wanting to catch the snowflake on her tongue. And guess what? Not the last time, but 3 times ago when I went to Crystal Hot Springs, it was snowing. We were there at night, my wife and I, and we were just chilling in the hot bath and it starts snowing. Can you imagine how gorgeous that was? You're sitting in this beautiful hot bath, you're looking up and just snow coming down on you while you're in this hot, warm, beautiful bath. And by the way, the Crystal Hot Springs is the highest content of minerals of any hot spring in the United States of America. So now some hot springs are nasty and they smell because of hydrogen sulfide that's in the water, the H2S that's in the water. So they kind of smell nasty and look nasty. Crystal Hot Springs is crystal clear because they bring the water up out of the ground and they filter it for sulfur and hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide and all these kind of things. And so they're just delivering to you the water in a beautiful form with the minerals that come from the earth, as well as they do add a little bit even more minerals. So it's very therapeutic. Again, Crystal Hot Springs from the Salt Lake City airport, you'd probably be an hour north, give or take traffic. But just so you all know, I'm not talking about this from a perspective of not having experienced it. I definitely have experienced hot springs and I think it's amazing. So here we're just showing balneal therapy and hormesis. So balneal therapy is effectively therapy received from a hot bath and typically you have mineral rich spa water so that you can get those benefits and hopefully have those minerals absorbing into your body. Hormesis, on the other hand, it's this theory that or idea that a little bit of stress really helps you. And so in life, getting in a hot spring that's really hot water, getting in a cold or ice bath also can stress your system out. And I'm here to tell you I do both. I have both in my home. And I don't say this in a way to, be braggy. I just am telling you, I really believe in all this stuff. I don't just talk about it. I practice it. So at my house, I have a jacuzzi tub. So you'll see a nice stat in a few minutes that getting in a hot tub or a hot spring like this can be equivalent to 30 minutes of exercise. And that makes sense, right? Your body, you're in hot water, your body's going to have to breathe more and your blood's going to circulate more to try and cool your system down. So I have that. I also have in my home a ice bath, and I use that. I get in that for, typically 6 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is. And I really do enjoy that. I don't do that every day like some people, but I do it a few times a week. I get in that cold water. Now, I don't have my water be as cold as some people. Some people have their water down in the 30s. I have read that there's not tremendous benefits below 48 degrees. And, if I put my water in my ice bath at 34, my wife will never get in it. If I keep it at 48, she'll get in it. So guess what? I keep it at 48 because I haven't seen any proof or anything that says, you don't have the benefits unless you get lower than 48. So we do have an ice bath, 48 degrees. We do have a sauna room, and we have a steam room. So I really do kind of do that Wim Hof idea where you can go from hot and cold to have stress on your body. I do believe that is beneficial, and I do recommend people get a great ice bath. If you're looking to know what ice bath I have, send us messages. And actually, the ice bath that I use, I'm dear friends with the creator and the owner of the company. And I'll be able to get you a special price if you guys are looking. But they are very high-end ice baths, and so they're expensive. When it comes to hot springs, I don't have that, but I do know the company that makes my ice bath is creating right now a 2-person mineral bath that is going to mimic the hot springs, and we're going to have our hydrogen injection in it. So believe it or not, we'll have that available too. So that'll be down the road. We'll talk about that. But I want you to understand that you can have benefits linked, with inflammation and stress by getting hot baths. And you can also, when you put your body under a bit of stress, it's actually very good for you. I'm not saying crazy amount, but just small amounts of stress and resistance are really, really good. So hot springs continue to be on the rise. And as I said earlier, 30 minutes of hot spring use can yield the same bodily effects as 30 minutes of exercise. There are 31,290 thermal or mineral springs established as of 2022. That's the best we could find in our search for stats or data. 82% of hot mineral spring users experience improved sleep 2 to 3 days for 2+ days after use. So again, kind of that balneal therapy and hormesis, you can see the body responds well. It likes it. 83.2% of a 3-day hot spring users reported complete relief from musculoskeletal symptoms. So that was 3 days of doing hot water. Okay, now we can do that by getting a jacuzzi tub and getting in it 3 days in a row. You can also go to a natural occurring hot spring, or you might have a bathtub in your house that you can fill up hot water and do that. But 3 days, they had complete relief. 23% or a negative 23% reduced risk of stroke in daily bathers. So people that daily got in hot water had less risk of stroke. 130 different countries maintain thriving hot mineral springs, including the United States of America, of course. Japan, Australia, there's many, many countries. Italy, my heritage. So 35% reduction in risk of coronary disease in daily bathers. So again, bathing has good purposes. So here is some information. Australia we found a hot spring user survey of 4,265 users in Australia who said they had pain reduction with chronic back pain and arthritis, and they had a marked improvement in reported neurological conditions like depression, anxiety, and insomnia. So again, sleep issues. In Italy, there were 23,000. Clearly, Italian people take more hot baths than Australia, but there were 23,680 users who participated in the survey said that it reduced their hospitalizations for multiple health conditions and reduced the number of requested sick days across multiple health conditions with users. So again, great information. So what do human trials say? It does show in several peer-reviewed studies that there have been benefits of mineral-rich thermal water, finding that it reduced redness, dryness, itching, and scaling in cases of psoriasis and eczema. So people that had psoriasis and eczema were benefited. There was also reduction in cortisol levels. So there were benefits to people that are stressed out. Let's be honest. Cortisol means you're stressed out. If your body is delivering cortisol, it's trying to calm you down because you're stressed out. So what is this saying? In healthy people under stress, balneal therapy, remember that's when you take hot baths, reduced short-term cortisol levels in individuals with rheumatic conditions. Cortisol levels were temporarily increased, causing a hematic stress effect that led to less inflammation, reduced pain, and better quality of life long term. So again, tremendous benefits with bathing in general. So here are some Japanese springs of water that have hydrogen in them. So for years now, I've been talking about how hydrogen water enhanced 5-fluorosil-induced inhibition of colon cancer. But buried in that study was the fact that they used natural water from Mount Fuji in Japan, which contained measurable levels of H2 gas, even without artificial infusion. So when they studied or tested how much hydrogen, the hydrogen level was 0.3 to 0.6 parts per million naturally in these waters. So, of course, Echo Water, which is the original and best hydrogen water devices in the world, have higher amounts, around 5 times that at least. The bottom line is this particular spring in Mount Fuji had naturally occurring hydrogen water. And this next study, investigation of hydrogen in hot spring waters with the Japanese Journal of Balneology, Climatology, and Physical Medicine, said that they have several hydrogen springs where natural geothermal activity produces H2 gas that dissolves into water. One study measured up to 0.2 to 0.4 parts per million of dissolved hydrogen in some Japanese hot springs, especially those near volcanic regions. So, very, very good to understand that the Earth does expect somebody to get in these hot springs and have hydrogen for them. And so I'm going to tie all this in a little bit later, but if the Earth wants us to take baths, hot baths, and it's beneficial to us, and we can even get hydrogen that way, then let's do that in our own lives. Let's mimic nature. Let's do that. So here our body is made up of 63% hydrogen. Clearly, hydrogen is a part of us and a part of our body. And we are designed to create hydrogen in our gut. And if our guts were working properly, we wouldn't have any issues. But because we have so many issues with our gut, not producing hydrogen the way it's supposed to, we have to supplement hydrogen. And that's why I developed Echo as a company 15 years ago. That's why we have all these amazing devices, why we have the amazing team of people that we have that have continued to further the development of Echo products and the quality that is second to none. There is no other company in the world that accomplishes what we do and is giving true hydrogen water. In fact, Echo Water is hydrogen water, and 99% of the products out there are really just scam products. And we do have to do a better job of branding that Echo Water is hydrogen water, and it's the original hydrogen water. So here's some information we want to share with you based on hot springs, what's in hot springs. So yes, there's hydrogen sulfide naturally in springs, which stinks. Yes, there's silica, which is good for you. There's carbon dioxide. There's calcium, magnesium, sodium, bicarbonates, iron, potassium. All of these things, of course, are in hot springs. But guess what? Right there hydrogen, H2. Some of these springs are rich in dissolved hydrogen gas, which acts as an antioxidant and anti-inflammatory agent. Now, all the benefits you get from Echo Water, here you could go to these springs. It's not always as convenient, and so that's why we're bringing the spring to you, so you can do it in your home, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But the benefits of hydrogen in bathing water are right here on the screen for you. It's selective radical scavenging. So H2 neutralizes free radicals like a hydroxyl radical or peroxynitrite without harming beneficial reactive species. Highly bioavailable. Obviously, it's neutral. It crosses the cell membranes and allows your mitochondrial brain, making it better. And again, this is another delivery. Clearly, you all know about hydrogen water and drinking it. And you also know you can inhale it, but a lot of people didn't know they could take a bath and that there would be a benefit with their skin for topical use. So it will reduce inflammation and normalize cell death. So H2 downregulates the inflammatory molecule like interleukin 1 beta or interleukin 6 TNF alpha and balances apoptosis regulators. That's what it's doing. So it downregulates your inflammatory molecules. That's what I want you guys to understand. Taking baths will help your skin. It will also stimulate collagen. So as soon as the hydrogen gets into your skin, it's going to stimulate collagen, which you know what that's going to do for your wrinkles and your skin and your thickness of your skin and how great your skin looks. It's going to improve it. Now, it's also going to improve our antioxidant defenses. So it activates protective pathways like the NRF2 pathway. It boosts enzymes like superoxide dismutase and catalase. These are great enzymes that are necessary to the body's function, and it's going to increase our body's antioxidant defenses. So these are some cool pictures that I found a while ago when I was trying to look up these healing waters in the world. And I'm gonna do a whole thing on that. I did a whole PowerPoint presentation, and we're going to talk about this because there are many healing waters. Many of you have heard of Lourdes water in France. There's also right here Nordenau water from Germany, Hita Tenrysu in Japan. You have places in Mexico. You have places in the US. You have places in India, rivers that people bathe in. So all over the world, we have these healing waters. And so these pictures are in Nordenau, Germany, of people going and sitting in chairs. You can see the guy down on the bottom right carrying out gallons of water to go and drink. You can see in the other picture with the blue kind of cave ceiling, you can see on the table there's containers for people to fill up their water and take it home. Now, what's really cool in Nordenau is not only does it have the same hydrogen levels as you typically would find, which is 0.3 parts per million in that water naturally, but they also found a magnetic field in Nordenau because you're inside of a cave, you're inside of a mountain. And so they found a magnetic energy, which they're saying has beneficial effects as well. So not only does the hydrogen help them, but you also have the magnetic energies, which are incredible. But literally 2 million people come to Nordenau, Germany every year to go into the cave and to drink the water, experience the whole thing, take water with them. It's pretty amazing. They've got 500,000 people that have signed documents that they've had benefits. So this isn't just like a handful of people. This is something that's going on for many, many years. People continue to come, millions of people per year. And so it's very, very exciting. It's very, very, very exciting to think about what the earth provides us. Now, we want you to be able to learn about hydrogen. And so we created this site a few years ago called hydrogenstudies.com. There's over 1,500 peer-reviewed articles and studies. There's 150 years of global research, 40 proven therapeutic benefits. You can see studies as far back as 1888 all the way till today. You can see that we have hydrogen in NRW. Now, that's a new term for a lot of you. That's called naturally reduced water. So when we use electrolysis, that's called electrolyzed reduced water. But NRW is naturally reduced water. So in other words, nature is doing it. You will always have lower amounts of hydrogen in the naturally occurring waters than you will in electrolyzed reduced water, or like our hydrogen water that we make. But again, it's nice to know that hydrogen water exists in nature all over the world. And so these waters have been examined, and the study was to identify the role in naturally reduced water in anxiety and blood biochemical analysis. And the results were naturally reduced water exhibited anxiolytic effects and in the conditioned fear and elevated plus maze test. So this was a rat study where they put rats into a maze and wanted to see how anxious they were. And this particular study was all about anxiety and stress. And so it was able to help. So if we read the conclusion, these results suggest that naturally reduced water decrease anxiety-related behaviors. So this is very good. So clearly, eco water that has hydrogen in much higher amounts will also help anxiety and stress. Hydrogen bath and inflammation. So here you can see hydrogen-rich bath with the nano-sized bubbles improves antioxidant capacity based on oxygen radical absorbing and inflammation levels in human serum. So that's what this study was for, is to see what happened. So let's read, the end, and it was a great benefit. We can see that CRP levels were repressed to 3-24% upon 9 days and up to 4 months of hydrogen water bathing. Another 6 patients with diverse autoimmune related diseases upon daily hydrogen water baths as long as 2 to 25 months, the pre-bathing CRP level of 5.31 milligrams per deciliter decreased to 0.24 milligrams per deciliter, being within standard range. So these are wonderful benefits. And these were typically 10-minute hydrogen water baths, increase the oxygen radical absorption based on antioxidant capacity to 110.9 at post-bathing 120 minutes, although unaltered with 10-minute normal water bathing. So 10 minutes with hydrogen water greatly helped their antioxidant capacity versus normal water bathing. So again, what I'm trying to get you guys to understand is bathing in hot water has benefits, but then when you add hydrogen to it, it completely amps up the entire process. Hydrogen bath and skin and fat. So let's get into that, right? That's popular. So this is effects on hydrogen-rich water on visceral fat and skin blotch with boiling resistant hydrogen bubbles. Okay? So we know that hydrogen bath utilization improves cosmetic effects such as skin blotch representation and visceral fat-based slimming effects. So what happened in this study? Let's look at it. So a hydrogen-rich water bath apparatus can electrically generate abundant boiling-resistant hydrogen bubbles, improving visceral fat and blotches on the skin. So what else do you need to hear? That is amazing. And what's interesting is when we read the middle part, it says the wide-ranging, dense, and irregularly shaped skin blotches became markedly smaller and thinner, assumedly through reductive bleaching of melanin and liposuction and promotion of dermal cell renewal by hydrogen-rich warm water. Ultrasonic resonance-based analysis of the abdominal cross-section revealed that the visceral fat area decreased from 47 to 36 centimeters squared, and the abdominal circumference decreased from 91 to 82 centimeters. Now, that was amazing, right? But listen to this next part. In the 2 female subjects bathing in hydrogen water after 6 months hydrogen water bathing, the LDL, it's low density lipoprotein, but its LDL cholesterol level was decreased by 16.2%, and the fasting blood glucose level increased by 13.6%. Huge, huge, huge benefits here. So just understand, bathing can be very calming and wonderful, but clearly we're learning that it can improve your health significantly. So here are some examples of the blotch decreasing that we talked about on facial cleansing with hydrogen-rich water. You can see those blotches reducing and thinning out and being less visible. That's figure 1. In figure 2, you see the hand, you see the back, and you see the breast of a male, where the blotch decreasing effect and improvements on the skin by hydrogen-rich water. This is a 48-year-old male, and with his informed consent, they were able to use warm hydrogen water bath for 10 minutes once a day for 1 month. And in the yellow boxes, you can see the spots that were tested, and they are significantly reduced. Okay? So here is suppressive effects of hydrogen-rich water bath on visceral fat. You can see that, and you can look at that person. Look at them. Wow, right? A1, A2, A3. That's amazing, isn't it? Holy cow. So again, 10 minutes once a day for 1 month. They didn't change their meal contents, their exercise habits, nothing. A1, A2, and A3 is a female 41-year-old. Okay. And A1 through 3 is before 1 month and 3 months. So again, that's how you can see, as it got better and better and better, what happened with visceral fat. The person that's number B is a 42-year-old female, and B1 is obviously before, and then B2 is a month after. And you can see a big difference. You can also see that they've pulled the pants up higher, but you do see a difference. I do like A1, A2, and A3 a little better, just because the distance from the belly buttons are similar in all three. So it's kind of more of a fair thing. In B1 and B2, I don't like that as much. But again, A1, A2, A3, those are legitimate in my opinion. Hydrogen bath and plaque psoriasis. So we're talking about psoriasis and parapsoriasis. So, understand this is all about chronic inflammatory skin disease, and it's a challenge for people. So effectively, you can get help. What this is saying is that hydrogen water bathing therapy could fulfill the unmet need for these chronic inflammatory skin diseases. And the significant improvement of pruritus was also observed. So, again, it says at week 8, our parallel control trial revealed 24.4% of patients receiving hydrogen water bathing achieved at least 75% improvement in psoriasis. This is huge. 75% of the individuals in the trial had improvements in their psoriasis area 70 index. So as compared to 2.9% of patients in the control group, or in other words, regular water bathing, not hydrogen. And so hopefully that helps you understand. Here are some more pictures that we have, case studies. The first one is a 64-year-old psoriasis patient, and you can see at baseline and you can see at week 8, chest and back, and you see chest and back. And again, you can see a significant difference in the tone of the skin, in the little spots that are what your psoriasis is. And so he had been taking a medication prior to acitretin, 30 milligrams a day for more than 4 months, and they had not improved. His psoriatic lesions had not improved. And so then he used hydrogen water, and you had a huge benefit. Case number 2, 40-year-old psoriasis patient. Again, baseline, you see the 2 front and back, and then you see the front and back after week 8. Huge difference there. And then again, case number 3, 43-year-old psoriasis patient. Again, huge differences. So again, hydrogen water can do wonders for the body. Here you can see a clinical evaluation of a patient with parapsoriasis and plaque who achieved complete response rapidly 4 weeks after hydrogen water bathing. So look at week 4 with that individual versus baseline. That's amazing to look at. Truly amazing. All right, so hydrogen bath and hygiene. Obviously, if there's keratin plugged, clogged hair pores, and promoted capillary blood streams more markedly than normal warm water. So the cleansing that happened with hydrogen warm water was better than regular water. That's what this study is saying. On hygiene, it gets you cleaner. Hydrogen gets you cleaner. Hydrogen bath and oxidative stress. So this is just topically applied hydrogen normalizes skin parameters associated with oxidative stress. This is a pilot study, but effectively it shows that their skin parameters, including porphyrin levels, pigmentation irregularities, pore size, wrinkle severity, biological skin age, were quantitatively assessed before and 1 week post-treatment. A statistically significant reduction in pore visibility was observed, particularly in younger participants. Improvements were also noted in pigmentation, wrinkle severity, and estimated biological skin age. So again, no adverse effects reported, so it's good stuff. Here's another young adult distribution of pores. You can see baseline and you can see 1 week post-treatment. And you can see on the left baseline in 1 week how much less reddened the area of the face is. Here we can see that same where they're just kind of drilling into that one spot and looking at 1 week later. And then polarized light and a brown filter, which you can see, again, a big reduction in atopic dermatitis. And this is simply molecular hydrogen treatments with water. So again, very, very good. So I hope that you all, I'm going to turn my camera on for a second. I hope that you all have enjoyed understanding that hot baths have been around for thousands of years. And the hot baths that people love the most and the springs that people flock to by the millions are the ones with hydrogen in them. Also, we learned the tremendous benefits with hydrogen itself, and we reviewed multiple studies on psoriasis, on eczema, on different skin issues, from blotches that were irregular to being smaller, all these different things. So now I'm going to introduce you to the Echo Revive, which is a breakthrough in hydrogen water bathing. Now, something I want you to understand is that clearly it's inconvenient going to a hot spring. The one I go to is an 1.5 hour drive. Clearly, I'm not going every day. I'm not going to go even every week, right? So having a bathtub like we do in our home and a jacuzzi tub that we have in our home, I can get the hot. But in our bathtub in our master bathroom, we have the Revive. And so my sweet wife can get her Echo hydrogen bath going, so to help her. So this is what it's all about. We're bringing the hot spring to you. We're bringing the therapy to you in your home. So again, this is a revolution in longevity and performance. We are helping you unlock the peak performance and being able to do that. I'm going to play you a couple videos before we go to the next part.
So we made the bathtub vibe a little bit nicer. Got the hydrogen bath machine, biohacking. Shout out to the biohack.
So that was very short, 7 seconds, but you can see the Echo Revive in there, and I'll play you the next one that's definitely longer.
This is my newest recovery love right here. Brother, you're going to love this. So this is a hydrogen gas generator that you put into your bathtub. And what it does is it saturates the bath with hydrogen gas, just like this water bottle will do, but just in higher concentration. And we know that this gas can go transdermal. It goes right through the skin. So inflammation, circulation, what we call vasomotor activity, which is your micro circulation. But only 30% roughly of our circulation is actually done by our heart. The other 70% of our circulation is done by something called vasomotor. It's kind of like a snake swallowing a mouse, right? It's the microvasculature moving blood around. So this is the way that we heal and repair at phenomenal Wolverine rates. I cannot wait to hear how you respond when you start 20 minutes a night. You're going to be in a hydrogen bath. It feels great. You keep the bath at 102 degrees. We saturate it with hydrogen gas. You set down in that bath. That gas goes right transdermal.
And then is it the little bubbles? It's just
it's the little micro bubbles, kind of like the bubbles.
So that is one of the UFC fighters that, came back, Michael Chandler, who came back in. And of course, here are all kinds of people who are using Echo in their homes. Particularly, many of them have. Grant Cardone has the bath unit. Ronaldo, The Rock, Leonardo DiCaprio. I know for a fact, Gary Brecka, they all have the Echo bath unit in their homes. And be careful. One thing I do want to caution you on is not using a bath unit from companies that are out there trying to do less quality. Gary Brecka was poisoned by a bath unit that was by another company that device was originally made for welding equipment. And then they converted it into a bath unit, which is horrible to do. And what ended up happening is arsenic and all kinds of things were in that water that should not have been in the water. And so it was very unfortunate for Gary to have listened to this individual. Clearly, it was a bad brand of product that they were doing. So Gary has always had our bath unit, but he was, this other guy was telling him to try this other one. And what ended up happening is Gary got heavy metals in his body and was poisoned by heavy metals effectively. So be very careful when you're bathing in water in general. You're going to absorb stuff that's in that water, and you really want to be very, very careful not to have toxic water. So the Echo Revive is the best hydrogen bath unit in the world. You don't have to add anything to it other than distilled water. You connect it into your bathtub. One of the tubes will pull water from your bathtub into this unit, and then the second tube will return that water to your tub with hydrogen gas dissolved in it. So it is going to put roughly 2 parts per million of hydrogen gas in. And while it's running, I would say realistically, you're going to have around 1.3 to 1.5 parts per million. But when it's coming into the bathtub, it's going to look almost like milk because it's coming into that clear water and it's full of hydrogen bubbles. It looks really cool when it starts up. But one time of getting in that water, you're going to feel and see differences, especially with your skin. You're going to see differences in your skin. You're going to be able to notice differences in your skin. It does have a touch screen on it, so you can program what you're doing and see how it's doing and what have you. So just know that it is the best unit available, and it does an incredible job. It's been tested by, H2 Analytics for its efficacy. And I just want you to know that this is something you can trust not to poison you or have you pick up toxic chemicals. The water that you're bathing in, you want to have filtered as well, but nothing is being introduced into the water by the Echo Revive other than hydrogen gas. So Trace Waterland is here with us tonight. Yay! Becca Kevern is not, but she's amazing too. You all know how much I love these two people. I talk about them every time, but Becca is the head of customer service, and she's just got a heart of gold. Trace is one of my favorite people on this planet. He is a natural medicine guy. He's cut from the cloth I'm used to, being in the natural industry, and he's been with us for years, and just such an asset to Echo Water. And he's been the one answering your questions. So I'm going to go in there now and see. This is your discount. If you go to our website, use the coupon code REVIVE, and it will give you a great discount. And so just know, you should see that on your screen now. And I'm going to double check. Yep, you should see that right on your screen, that you're getting 15% off with your code HydroSoak. You'll get a free flask. If you use the code REVIVE, you'll get 15% off. If you use the code HydroSoak, then you'll get a free flask with your purchase. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the question and answer and see if there's anything left, because Trace is pretty incredible. I might not have anything to do. Okay, Peter says, does hydrogen bathing and hydrogen water assist with topical steroid withdrawal? I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head, so I'm going to look it up for you.
Paul, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I'm just letting you know that it is, in fact, REVIVE is the code.
Oh, REVIVE is the code. Okay.
I just updated that link.
Oh, great. I'll go back and tell them. Thanks. Okay, guys. So on your screen, Amazing Alicia changed your code. The code is REVIVE. So there was an error. Now it's been fixed real time. The code is REVIVE, and that will get you 15% off and a free flask. So use that code, REVIVE, REVIVE. Okay, so I'm going to move on, and don't worry, Peter, I will come back to you with your question, because I'm a multitasker sometimes. So let me go to the next question. All right. Okay, I'm almost ready to answer you, Peter. Let me go ahead and answer a couple more questions. Ali says ice bath info. The ice bath that I have in my house is called a Moroshko, but get with me. Everyone, I tell you what, everyone that wants information about the ice baths, send an email into Penny. Penny's going to love me for this. I'm sorry, Penny. Send an email to Penny at echowater.com, and she'll put all those people together, and then I will send out an email with a link and a code that you'll be able to get. But again, as I said, just know that the Moroshko is not only an ice bath, it's the only one that'll actually make ice. If you do want to have it below 48 degrees, it will actually make ice. The unit, it will itself. It does have filtration like a spa does, and it has an ozone generator. So it is keeping itself clean. It's beautiful wood. You can choose the wood color to match your house, and it's a stainless steel inside. They have different types. So I would say, I would say that that's what, that's the best in the market, period. But it's not the least expensive. So just know they're around $13,000, $14,000 for those ice baths, but they're amazing. Can Revive be used in a hot spring? Yes, it can. Just know if you have a big jacuzzi, like I have a 9-person jacuzzi tub that's 9 foot by 7.5 foot. It may not get as much hydrogen into like it would in a bathtub, but you would get hydrogen in it. Yes, if you wanted to use it in that way. Is there, okay, Trace answered that. Yeah, Melody, does it compare to ozone bath? Ozone is oxygen, and ozone has an oxidative effect on the body. Hydrogen is an antioxidant, so it's totally different with the effects they're going to have. So you really wouldn't compare it to ozone. Ozone is going to kill bacteria and things like that. Hydrogen is benefiting your body. So that's the big difference there. Monica said, can I get some benefits from at least splashing H2 water on my face? I have an Echo Flask and can't afford both. Bath machine, LOL. What I would say is put the water from the Echo Flask into a little spray bottle and spray it on your skin. That might help you. The only other thing I could say is if you somehow put hydrogen water in a bowl and put your face in it, but be very careful with that, but put your face in it, hold your breath, put your face in it for a bit. That's about the only thing I would say, because you really want that hydrogen gas absorbing into your skin. I don't know how safe that is, Monica. I'm not advocating this. I'm just answering your question. Andrea says, can we cheat with hydrogen packs poured into baths until a proper machine can be afforded? What about spraying on the skin? Northern Canada changes with extreme temperature. Yeah, so I don't know what hydrogen packs you're talking about, really, but I don't know. I don't know what hydrogen packs you're talking about, Andrea. Let's see here. Hydrogen, yes. Let me keep going down. Trace is answering all these questions. I love it. Okay, Scott says, how much water is recommended for the unit? Was hoping to use it in a hot tub around 102. If you're talking about the bath unit, when you put the 2 tubes in, one's pulling, one's pushing water back, it's just going to run. And I would say you probably want to run it for 15 minutes before you get in. Yeah, 15 minutes before you get in there. I mean, just understand, in a big hot tub, if you got a big hot tub, it's not ideal. It really is not ideal, but it will work. It would work. And, you would have benefits, clearly. Alberto says, ciao, love your products. The fidelity is fantastic. Speaking from photos and videos alone, as we say back home, bellissima. Thank you, Alberto. That's awesome. That is awesome. I miss Italy. I haven't been there in a little bit. My family is all from Caserta. And so there you have it. Okay, so now I'm going to get back to Peter's question, and we're going to answer him thoroughly. here we go. Does hydrogen bathing and hydrogen water assist with topical steroid withdrawal? So here is a recommended protocol for TSW. So daily hydrogen bathing using a hydrogen bath unit that produces at least 1 part per million of hydrogen concentration. Now, we are much higher than that. We're putting 2 parts per million into the water, and you'll have a 1.3. So you're clearly above that. You would soak for 15 to 20 minutes in lukewarm water, not hot, as heat can worsen TSW. And so when you're doing that, you would combine that with drinking the water. So ideally, you would want to drink hydrogen water on an empty stomach, especially in the morning when you wake up, to get it into your system and to reduce systemic oxidative stress, which is one of the major issues. And then I would combine all that, combine daily hydrogen bathing from the Revive unit with lukewarm water, not hot, lukewarm water, and then drink hydrogen water, at least half your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 100 pounds, 50 ounces. If you weigh 200 pounds, 100 ounces. And then use a bland, non-irritating moisturizer like petrolatum or squalene post-bath to lock in the moisture. I hope that helps you understand, Peter, what can be done, but it will calm the skin and it will really help with acute flare-ups, itching, and burning. So just know that would be my recommendation for you. Thank you, Alberto. He says, grazie for the shout out. Have a question for the flask, if that's okay. After some use, does the mechanism need to be refreshed? No. The Echo Flask will last a minimum of 5.5 years from a perspective of hydrogen production. Eventually, the battery will get less and less, just like any cell phone or other lithium-ion battery. But that will go in many years. But again, you're talking about it's got a 5-year warranty, so you got a minimum of 5 years. And for a product that's sub $300 for 5 years, 5.5 years, 6 years, 7 years, that's amazing. So there's nothing to be done to it, but just know that that all you do is keep it charged and keep pure water or filtered water in it. Thank you so much. All right, so I think that's everything. I don't know if there's anything in the chat. I don't know if there's anyone else. If there's anyone else that has anything, I'm trying to see here in the question and answer, but I don't see anything. So I think we'll call it a webinar. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I hope it was highly beneficial. I hope that you have enjoyed the education on bathing historically with just heat, and then understanding how the earth does put hydrogen water into hot baths around the world that people have been enjoying forever. And I mean, we're talking up to 8,000 years, right? So keep in mind, this has been something that people have done for a long time. But what we're doing is bringing the mountain to you, or bringing the spring, the hot spring with hydrogen in it, to you, so you can have it in your home, in the comforts of your home. Shelly says, we got some more questions. I can't go yet. Jennifer says, do you need filtered water for the Revive bath? We always recommend filtering the water that you would be bathing in, because the water you're bathing in, whatever's in that water, some things will absorb in the skin, some things won't. We always would recommend a whole house filtration system. And of course, we have those available. We have whole house filtration systems, the best of the best. If you don't have whole house filtration, that'll help your skin and your hair too, not be dried out as much. But definitely we recommend some sort of filtered water you don't have to use filtered water for the Revive, but I do recommend filtered water. Shelly says, I have the flask. What's the best water? The best water is reverse osmosis or distilled water or a combination of the two. You can also use filtered water that's been filtered appropriately, but I would tell you the best water, which is what you asked for, is reverse osmosis or distilled water. And keep in mind, we have an excellent reverse osmosis system that goes under sink that's like, $500-$600 range. Very simple to add to your home and have the best drinking water on the planet. So Jimmy says, I have a friend to ask, will the Echo Water help with BPH and the bath machine? Shelly says, I have a Kangen water. Will that work? Are you saying, Shelly, to put it in your flask? Oh, yeah, there is a filter in Kangen machines. It's just really a basic filter. It's probably as good as the filter in your refrigerator. So you can use the refrigerator filter. The Kangen water machines don't have a great filter in them unless you've bought their additional filters that they sell. Then you can get to some better filtration. But yeah, I would like to see higher filtration than that. There's a lot of heavy metals and pesticides in the world. If you're looking for an inexpensive filter, Zero is a good brand that you can buy in most stores, and that will actually be close to an RO. Yeah. Yes, it's great to use Aquapana, my Italian brother Alberto. Yes, use Aquapana in the flask. That's awesome. Kathleen, can spring water be used in the flask? As long as there's no E. coli or other things in that spring water. If you're talking about spring water that you bought in a bottle in the store, yes, of course. If you're talking about spring water from your property where you live, you want to have it tested. Shelly said it also has the salt thing as well. Don't use that. Don't use the enhancer when running the water. Definitely use the filtered one only. That's what I would do. Use it in filtered only mode. If you're going to use the Kangen water, use it only in filtered mode. No, Shelly's asking, does the pH level matter? No, it doesn't matter. The pH will be buffered by your stomach acid in a matter of seconds anyways. So no, it doesn't matter. Carmen, she's talking about, oh, good. Thanks, Trace. All right. So I think we're good. So I'm going to call it an evening. Thank you guys so much. We're an hour and 17 minutes into this. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending the time. We are so grateful for your support, your loyalty, and I am going to sign off. Thank you so very much.